The Shadow of Fu Manchu. Based on the stories by Sax Rohmer. While endeavoring to decipher a cryptic message given them by Karameneh, Nayland Smith and Dr. Petrie are called to the apartment of Frank West, an American inventor. There they discover West drugged, and the plans for his new aero torpedo stolen from a locked safe. The inventor tells of seeing a yellow face in a vivid dream and describes Dr. Fu Manchu. Nayland Smith is convinced that Karameneh's message must be a clue to the bearer of West's stolen plans. His theory is proven true when they discover a sealed packet, presumably containing the plans, and a second-class passenger of a ship about to sail for the Orient. We find Nayland Smith, Dr. Petrie, and Inspector Weymouth in a taxi on their way from Fenchurch Station to West's apartment.
I hope, Weymouth, you'll arrange to keep this out of the papers. Fu Manchu will eventually learn of the failure of his plot to get West's plans out of the country and into the hands of the Black Poppy Society in Shanghai. But for the present, he must be left in the dark.
Right, Mr. Smith. That means Ram Singh is to be kept incommunicado.
Temporarily, at least. For the time being, Fu Manchu must think those plans are on the way to the Orient.
Nayland, your attitude in this entire affair, at least in our recovery of West's plans, puzzles me. Now, back there on the Andaman and since, you seem to be vastly amused by something.
Now that you speak of it, Petrie, I must say I'm under the same impression. Perhaps I missed something again, but for the life of me, I can't think what.
We caught our man, found the plans all intact, and here we are. Now, somehow, Nayland, I feel let down. The thing came off too smoothly.
Without a single hitch, eh?
That's it, as though it had been rehearsed.
Perhaps it was, Weymouth. However, in this instance, I believe we were simply very lucky. Oh, here we are, back at West's place. I imagine he'll be very much relieved at the return of his plans.
Mr. Smith.
Hello, West.
Gentlemen, come in. You recovered the plans?
Without a hitch, Mr. West. Here they are, just as they were taken from your safe. Apparently, they haven't even been opened.
Thank heaven. I hadn't expected you to succeed, Mr. Smith. Certainly not so quickly. I'm indebted to you. More than I can say.
Say no more about it, old chap.
You see, these plans and specifications are practically the property of England. Seeing you all know what they are, I'll open the packet and see if it's intact.
Yes, please do.
Yes, this is the original envelope in which I placed... Great Scott. Smith, look here. These aren't my plans. Look, blank paper.
What? Possible.
Blank paper. Do you hear, Smith?
By the saints, the devil got away with it.
Nayland, I felt all along we'd missed something. We should have examined the packet on the Andaman. We'd have
gained nothing, Petrie, excepting to prove to anyone who might have been watching that Fu Manchu had actually tricked us.
Will you explain, Nayland?
Ram Singh had at least one Confederate on the Andaman, I'm sure of. Perhaps more. Here, Mr. West. You'll find your plans in this packet.
What sort of a game is this, Smith? Where did that packet come from?
Wait, woman. I'll open it, West.
Yes, of course. Oh, thank the Lord. These are the plans.
No mistake about it?
No, these are the ones, all intact.
But good heavens, Neil, how? What?
You see, Petrie, Weymouth, I knew before the captain ever brought Ramsing to the bridge of the Andaman that we'd find nothing on him. Or at least not Mr. West's true plans.
Well, how did you know that? How could you know?
Because I had them in my pocket while you were searching Ramsing. I had to let Ram believe I was satisfied with what we'd found and make no immediate examination of the packet. Which I certainly would have done, Petrie, if I hadn't been certain of where the real ones were.
I still don't understand.
Recall Karameneh's message, Weymouth. Andaman second, Whitehead Stewart. It took us long enough to guess what the first part of that message meant. I didn't fathom the last part until I had a talk with the captain, just before he went after Ramsing.
When you left his office with him, eh?
Yes. We all thought it might be a second-class passenger with white hair by the name of Stewart. But when the captain assured me there was no one of that name listed on the ship, the thought struck me that perhaps the word Stewart might have been misspelled and could mean steward. I was sure of it when I learned there was a white-haired cabin steward among the crew.
By Jove, I must say I never thought of that.
Fu Manchu did exactly as I'd have done under like circumstances. He covered the real bearer of the plans with a smoke screen. In this instance, Ramsing, whom he sent openly with false papers. The white-haired man must have been the person Karameneh met at the coffee house.
You found the papers on him, of course.
No. They were so sure of my being led astray by the false scent that they weren't particularly careful. I found the plans in the steward's cabin, in the most obvious of places, under his mattress.
And the steward?
I had him quietly picked up by a couple of Tilbury dock police. You'll find him at the Old Bailey police station. That man, Weymouth, must be kept hidden under any circumstance. Ramsing, you may let go whenever you like.
But he'll go directly to Fu Manchu and report the recovery of the false papers.
That's exactly what I want him to do. We'll continue to use him as the smokescreen. Dr. Fu mustn't learn of the steward's capture. You must believe him on his way to the Orient. Understand now?
Of course. We'll leave the gentleman in the belief that his man got through. But why didn't you let us in on all this?
Sorry, old chap. There wasn't time in the first place, and then...
Pardon me, gentlemen.
Yes.
Hello? Yes, it's Mr. West speaking. Inspector Weymouth? Yes, he's here. One moment. Someone asking for you, Inspector.
Thank you. Hello? Yes, Wheeler. Lord who? Southery. I'll be along immediately. Stay there until I arrive. If we're finished here, Mr. Smith, I think you and Dr. Petrie had better come with me. Lord Southery has just been found dead at his London house. Come along. We'll get a cab at the corner. And you see, Dr. Thomas, the cause of death was due to heart failure?
That's my diagnosis. He'd later developed symptoms of angina pectoris, but I hadn't anticipated a fatal attack so soon.
Any other physician called in?
I did everything possible and sent for Sir Chalmers Cleeve, but the patient died before he arrived.
What time was that?
I was called near noon. I sent for Dr. Cleeve about 12:30.
How long had you been treating him for heart trouble?
3 months, to be exact.
I see. And you regard the circumstance of his death as due to that disease?
I do. Dr. Cleeve quite agrees with me. There's no room for doubt.
You, Petrie?
I agree with Dr. Thomas. There's absolutely no room for argument.
You gentlemen are with the police?
Inspector Weymouth will tell you that neither Dr. Petrie nor I are connected with the police.
But then, why were the police, Inspector Weymouth and Mr. Wheeler here, called to investigate a natural death?
Eh? But the yard was called. Correct, Wheeler?
Right, sir. The person who called shortly before 1 o'clock said he was Lord Southery's valet. Gave his name as Barry. I was given the assignment, sir.
Oh. Did you speak to the valet?
No, sir. I was let in by a maid.
I see. Let's have the valet up here.
Get him, Wheeler.
Right, sir.
I assume, Dr. Thomas, that this is the first you know of Barry's calling Scotland Yard?
It certainly is.
This is Barry, Mr. Smith.
Oh, Barry, who instructed you to call Scotland Yard and report your master's death?
Scotland Yard, sir? I don't think I understand, sir.
Then you did not call the Yard shortly before 1 o'clock?
I did not, sir.
Then who the devil...
Just a moment, Weymouth. Tell me, Barry, at the time of Lord Southery's death, or immediately thereafter, did you see or hear anything unusual? Anything unaccountable?
No, nothing, sir.
No strange sounds outside the house, for instance?
No, sir.
How long have you been with Lord Southery?
10 years, sir.
I see. Thank you, Barry. Well, Weymouth, Petrie and I can be of no further help to you here. We'll be at Baker Street if you want us. Oh, I suggest you trace that telephone call. Let me know about it, will you?
Of course.
Come along, Petrie.
Right.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Thomas. Nothing unusual about Southery's death. Ha! He just returns from the East and after a brief illness dies of heart failure.
But for that mysterious phone call, Nayland, I would diagnose it as such myself. Sir Chalmers Cleaver's a great physician, yet he saw nothing suspicious.
If Fu Manchu is responsible for Lord Sothery's death, there wouldn't be anything suspicious to see. Fu Manchu leaves no clues. Perhaps this business is making me imaginative, Petrie. That there was a taint in the air back yonder at that house. Peculiar to houses whose doors bear the invisible death mark of Fu Manchu.
You believe he had a hand in this?
I'm as sure of it as if I'd seen him strike the blow. And now what to do? It's a torturing frame of mind. Chained and helpless in our ignorance, we're led constantly into dead-end roads. Petrie, I'm going to run over to the yard. That telephone call annoys me. I want to check on it myself.
Very well. I'll stroll on and meet you at home in an hour.
Right, old Jeff. Cheerio.
Dr. Petrie.
What? Why, Karameneh.
Oh, quick, Doctor. Come around the corner. I must speak with you. We must not be seen.
Of course. But what's the matter? You're excited, frightened.
I followed you. Here. This will do. You have often asked me to help you to trap Dr. Fu Manchu. I am prepared to show you where he is.
Trap Fu Manchu? Why,
My brother. You are a doctor. I want you to come and see him now.
He's in London? I thought you told
He
me.
is at the house of Dr. Fu Manchu.
And you want me to go there alone, now?
With me, Dr. Petrie. Fu Manchu is not there now. The servants are out. No one is there but my brother. Oh, please.
Well, of course I'll go, but why didn't you speak to me earlier? You followed me. You must know that Mr. Smith
Oh,
was...
yes, he was with you. But he would have considered only his own desire to capture my master. He would not have thought of my brother. A cab from the rank on the corner there will take us. Oh, come, Dr. Petrie.
Oh, I suppose I'm doing something very foolish. Oh, very well. I take cabby. Yes, sir.
Go to the lower end of Commercial Road, driver, near the new docks. And hurry.
Shadow of Fu Manchu.